guys, welcome back to another episode of the Millennial Business Podcast. I am so excited to be joined today by the beautiful Elley Mae. She is an absolute business badass. She is a fellow Australian, which I'm so excited about. Elley, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you for such an amazing introduction. I'm like ready, excited.
You're welcome. I'm very excited I don't actually interview many Australian people, and I love being Australian. I love Australia, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
To begin with, I think it's something that's so important that's not talked about enough is when people don't feel clear about what they want to do with their life, they just sort of sit around and say, well, most people sit around and say, oh, well, I don't really know what I want to do, so I'm just going to do nothing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you need to go out and try things. Like for you tried photography, and yes, that was your passion for a while, but then it didn't feel right. So you pivoted and you changed to makeup. And that's like, it's totally okay to pivot and change to something completely different. But I think a lot of people sort of get stuck in the not knowing and then don't take action because they don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So many people do it. And I saw that a lot, especially when I first got into business coaching. I was primarily at that stage helping women to go full time in business. So because, like I said, I booked these clients, and then within like 4 months, I was full time in my business. I thought, well, I can teach people this, like I can coach people through this. So in those initial stages, that was what I saw quite a lot, was people just sitting in like fear and, would people judge me, or, oh, what if I don't get it right, or it needs to be perfect. And it's like, no, like people wait for the clarity before they take action. But I'm like, you don't get the clarity unless you take the action. Like you've got to take the action first. So I'm all for like throw yourself in and then work it out as you go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super curious. You said that you were able to take your business from pretty much like a side hustle to full time in 4 months. How did you get it to that point? What were what did you do to get it to full time?
This is a good question. So I think for me, it all started with a mindset shift. I know I'm like the biggest fan of like mindset work and really getting ourselves on board first. So I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to go full time in business. Like I'm done with working at day jobs. I'd been made redundant in the past. You wait like all year for a pay rise of like 50 cents. And I was like, I'm done with it. I'm not doing it. So I think for me, it was a really big decision, like almost a declaration of I'm going all in and I'm going to make this happen. In terms of like physical actions that I took, one of them that really helped, I think, was hiring. I had a friend back then, she's still my friend, and I hired her as my business coach. I was like, I'll do some social media work for you. You do like some business coaching for me, and like, let's do this. And she really helped me transition from like a blogger to a business owner. And even just the way that I set up my packages and pricing and all of that stuff, I just got her to help with those really foundational parts of business that I had no clue how to do. And that was really huge because not only did she show me those things that, were the gaps in my strategy, but also she was like my little cheerleader, like, you can do it. Like, you can totally hand in your resignation letter. Like, you've got this. And I was like, oh, this is what I need. Just someone cheering me on. Because, no one else that I knew other than other bloggers, other business owners online, like no one else in my town, my family, my friends, my workplace knew what I was doing. They're like, what do you do? You're like, you manage people's Instagram accounts. I'm like, yeah, it's really cool. They're like, what's Pinterest? I'm like, don't even worry. I'm a business owner. I'm just an entrepreneur. Like, just leave it at that. So yeah, it was really good having someone there to back me up and just remind me, like, you've got this, you can do this. And I think that was a really huge part of it. But yeah, I pretty much just made the decision, had some help there all the way. And then I took the action every single day, in my lunch breaks at my day job, in the mornings before my day job, at night after my day job. I was like, it is happening. And it did.
I love that. I love that so much because like we were just talking about, so many people don't take that action. And I think as well, it comes down to the consistency in the action. The fact that you were doing it before work, in your lunch break, and after work every day. If you get into a habit of doing it every single day, doing the outreach, doing the client calls or the cold calls or whatever it was that you needed to be doing to find clients for social media stuff, if you're doing that on a consistent basis, it is impossible for you not to fail. If every day you're spending maybe 2 hours every day doing outreach or client acquisition or whatever it is, you eventually, even if it takes you 2 months, you are going to find a client eventually. It's guaranteed, because you can't put in that much work and not find a client.
Yeah.
But so many people aren't willing to put in that work and put in the extra time and stay up that little bit later when they're starting, because it's tiring and they know they've got work the next day, when in reality, if they worked that little bit harder, they wouldn't have work the next day because they could quit their job.
Yeah. And sometimes we think that it's going to take so much effort and so much energy, and like it does, like 100%, like we're not denying that, but sometimes we think that, oh, to go full-time in business, it's this big thing and I have to have all this money and I have to have all these clients. But like, I worked with my business coach at the time to work out, okay, realistically, how much money do I need to make? How much am I charging for my services? How many clients does that equal? Fabulous. I only need to make $2,000 a month and I can go full time. The second I hit that, I was like, cool, I'm going to go full time. I'm not going to wait. Like originally my goal was December 2018, sorry. And it was like July that I handed in my notice, because I was like, well, I'm hitting the income that I need now. You know, I thought, oh, I need to have 5 or 10K months before I can quit my job. But then when I realized, I could probably just do this now, it didn't feel so like big and scary and overwhelming. It was like, oh, okay, cool, I can do this.
Yeah. I love that. What were the things that you were doing to find clients? Like, were you reaching out to people that you knew, or were you doing cold calls, or how did you find your first few clients to get you to that 2K point per month?
Yeah. Oh, this is a really great question. So my client attraction method, I think, has evolved a lot over the years. I'm very much about like attraction marketing. So I don't do any outreach. I don't, cold call or anything, cold emails or anything like that anymore. I didn't really, even in the beginning. I think a lot of my focus has been based on really creating a community and really creating connection with my audience and delivering value and showing up consistently. Like we talked about, consistency is absolute key. So even in those earlier stages, my focus was really on like being super consistent in showing up. So that was, showing up on Instagram every day. That was showing up to my email list every week. Back then, before I had a podcast, I had a blog. So it was like putting a blog post up every week, making sure it was high value, getting that out on Pinterest. So I focused a lot on content was the platform, I guess. Yeah. But my intention behind that content was really to just build connection. And also, I think in the beginning, working with a few clients at a lower rate. So I started my rates lower than what I wanted to charge. And for me, that was really good because I got the benefit of working with those couple, 2 or 3 clients, build up my portfolio, build up my expertise and self-confidence, which I think is huge when it comes to selling. Yeah. And then, they got the benefit of like an amazing like person helping them in their business for like not a lot of money. So it was really good. I started low and I really built up that consistency. And then as I got that social proof along with the consistent content, I just put that social proof everywhere. Like the second a client would message me, screenshot, post it on Instagram stories. The second that someone would reach out and say like, oh my God, I love what you're doing, screenshot that, put it like in my email list. So it's really just about building that connection, giving value, and just displaying proof that like, yep, I want to help you. I know how to do it. Like, let me do that. Let me help you with this. So yeah, I think that's kind of always been my way of doing it. I've actually never sent a cold email or done a cold call. So
wow.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I love
Thanks.
it. and you were able to hit your first million by the age of 24, which is
not million, 6 figures. I mean, hey, we can go with million like that. Honestly, we can go there. I'm like maybe by 26. Wait, that's in a couple months, but like maybe 27. Who knows? Okay. Anything can happen. 6 figures.
Okay, you were able to hit your first 6 figures by the age of 24, which is absolutely amazing. I would love to know a little bit. You talked before about the mindset shift of going from working full time to being a full-time business owner. But what was the mindset shift like of sort of earning that 2K per month versus hitting your 6 figures? Because I imagine there was a sort of a big mindset shift that had to happen for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I 1000% agree. I think, we can have the best strategy in the world, especially if it is clients or passive income or whatever it is that we do in our business. But if we don't have the mindset to back it up, it's just so hard to do it. Like, you could do it, but it's going to involve a lot of hustling. And I'm not about that life. So for me, I really if I could put 2019 down to a theme, give the year a theme, it was working on my money mindset. So, I joined a mastermind. I was obviously still working with coaches. I read books on money mindset. I was listening to podcasts on money mindset. Like, for me, a lot of the work that I did on my mindset in 2019 was focused on money mindset. So I think, back then I had a lot of fears around money, like looking at my bank accounts, looking at how much money I'm spending every month, even just looking how much money I was making. Like, I was making money and I was scared to look at it. So for me, a really big part of being able to scale to 6 figures, I think, was releasing all of my fears around money and actually looking at money in a different light. I truly do think that, the way that we think about money, if we think it's like a bad thing or it's evil or rich people are greedy, it's just a form of self-sabotage, and it makes it so much harder to make more money. Because how contradictory is it to be like, I want to hit 6 figures, but I hate looking at my money. Like, how do you know if you hit 6 figures if you don't look at it? It's the same with, rich people are greedy. But if you want to be rich, then you're saying that you want to be greedy, which most people don't want to be greedy. So it's it's so contradictory. So for me, a lot of me scaling to 6 figures was working on my money mindset. And again, just making that decision of, like I did when I said, you know what, I'm not doing the day job thing anymore, I'm going full time. I had no idea, like physically, strategically, how I was going to hit 6 figures. I was like, I have no idea how it's going to happen. I remember telling my boyfriend, I was like, I'm going to hit 6 figures this year. He's like, oh yeah, cool. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. He's like, yeah, that would be crazy. Like, wouldn't that be crazy? I'm like, no, it's going to happen. Like, I was so certain that it was going to happen. He's like, how are you going to do it? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to decide. I'm going to show up consistently. I'm going to deliver value. I'm going to work with clients, give them the best value that I possibly can. I'm going to work on my mindset, do all those things. And it should just happen. And obviously, I knew, okay, this is how much I need to make per month. This is how many clients, all of that. But really, I think it was just making that decision and showing up as the 6-figure me every day, making decisions from, if I was making 6 figures, would I be charging this rate or this rate? Would I be showing up consistently or hiding behind my computer? So yeah, it was really showing up from that place as though, yeah, it's already happened. It's done.
I love that. I absolutely love that, because actually recently I created a version of myself which I call Taylor 2.0.
Yes.
Which is basically, no, sorry, I call it Taylor 3.0. Taylor 2.0 was last year.
Yeah, same.
Taylor was normal Taylor was before that. That's old Taylor. She's gone. She's full of limiting beliefs and self-doubt and all of that stuff. Last year was a huge year for me because I moved to Bali. I really went headfirst into my business. I did all these amazing things. So that was Taylor 2.0. And now I'm in Taylor 3.0.
Yes.
And shows up fully as her. I don't wear tracksuit pants to work when I all I do is literally go from bed to my desk. But I don't wear tracksuit pants anymore. I get up every day. I get dressed. I make myself presentable because it feels like a different version of me as opposed to just chucking on a hoodie, putting my Ugg boots on and my tracksuit pants. And I feel sort of like a slob when I'm just working at my desk. So even the how I dressed made me feel like a different version of myself. And I'm more strict with my morning routine now because I know Taylor 3.0 isn't lazy with her morning routine. Taylor 3.0 doesn't spill food on herself and not wash her dressing gown. She gets it in the wash and washes it straight away. Just a lot of little things in terms of my mindset and how I'm showing up, just in little things in my day. have made me feel like a version of myself that's closer, a lot closer to my 10-year vision version of myself.
Yeah.
Vision of who I want to be. And so the little things in my day and how I'm showing up just for a normal Tuesday, it makes such a difference. And so, yeah, I totally could see how that would happen. But I also understand the whole limiting beliefs around money, because I have them as well. We have this thing in Australia, it's called tall poppy syndrome. And for any of my listeners that aren't Australian, we do this silly thing down under where we just, if anyone starts to be successful and if anyone starts to grow like a beautiful little poppy up in the sky, we like to shoot them down and trot on them and make them feel little and make them feel like they're breaking too far out of the box and they're not good enough because they're trying to make money. Why do we do that? Like,
I know.
Actually make any sense? Because if someone's trying to be the best version of themselves possible and they're trying to make something of themselves, why, like, it makes actually no sense as to why we should.
And like, more power to them, like actually going for it. I agree. Do you know what I have to add? It's so funny that you said about like Taylor 2.0 and Taylor 3.0. That's literally me. I'm like, I was Elley 2.0 last year, and now I'm like Elley 3.0 this year. And it was, do you know what was really interesting? Like, hearing you talk about getting stressed and all that, is I've essentially, in a way, done the opposite, but I'm doing the same as you, right? So last year I dressed up a lot. Like, I was like, I'm going to dress up. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm obviously dressed right now. But like, I dressed up a lot, and I thought, you know what, like, I saw other people going, this is what I do to, you know, be that 2.0 or 3.0 version of me. And I was like, cool, that's what I need to do. So I did that, and I like dressed up a lot, and I had like a 2-hour morning routine. And then this year I flipped it. So like, I'm wearing pajama pants down here. Like, I'm wearing pajama pants. I wear the hoodies. But the funny thing is that way of dressing makes you feel like a slob, like, oh, I'm not going to get anything done, I'm unproductive. But for me, it's like, yes, like creative, like ready to like pump out a client call and like help them have a breakthrough and all of that. So I just had to share it because I think it's so interesting to see like both sides of the equation. And I was actually having a conversation with one of my clients the other day about how like success isn't like this, you know, you don't go to the dictionary and look up success and it's like, you've got to do this and you've got to do that and you've got to get up at 5 a.m. and you've got to go for a run every day and you've got to journal every day. Like, I feel like success is what we get to make it. Like, it's what we think it is. And so my version of success is so different to yours, right? And like, my Elley 3.0 is so different to your Taylor 3.0. And it's really about like evolving in a way that just feels very true to you. And that's, you know, like kind of what you said, like really just showing up as yourself and doing those things that allow you to feel like your best self and move you towards your 10-year vision. Yeah. And everyone looks different in that journey, which I think is just the coolest part. So I just had to share that because I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So
no, I love that because I was actually listening to a training that a girl that I know from Bali, she was doing a training the other day in her Facebook group on how she is hitting consistent 20K months. And she said for her, the only way she was able to start hitting consistent 20K months is if she actually stopped trying to show up as how all the other business coaches were showing up and trying to run her business how all the other business coaches are running their business. When she was putting so much pressure on herself, when she was doing launches, having to do the Facebook Live free trainings and having to do the Instagram mini trainings and all of this stuff. And it wasn't in alignment with what she wanted to do and how she wanted to create. As soon as she got clear on how she wanted to show up authentically for herself in her business, then the consistent 20K months just started coming and it was so much easier. She was working less hours. She felt 10 times happier and way less stressed because it was in alignment with who she was, not all of these other business coaches. So I totally resonate with that because it's what's in alignment with you. It's what's in alignment. Like, trackies and hoodies are in alignment with you this year. For me this year, jeans and cute jackets are more in alignment. So it's just like whatever feels good for you and makes you feel like that version of success, then that is what you need to do pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about finding what is right for you and what is in alignment. Because who knows, next year I could be wearing jeans and a cute jacket and I'll be like, can you believe, like, I used to wear pajama pants on like client calls last year? Like, how crazy. So, you know, like everything changes. Absolutely. You've just got to follow what's totally in alignment.
Yeah. 100%.
Mm.
Elley, I would love to move into just quickly a little bit of sort of tactical advice or some key takeaways that the audience can implement after listening to this episode. I would love for you to potentially give a little bit of strategy or things that people could take away in regards to how they could build, if someone's thinking about starting a coaching business, because you said that you were originally doing social media stuff and then you transitioned into business coaching, and that's when you were able to build it up to 6 figures.
Yeah.
I know I do have a lot of social media managers in my audience. I get a lot of people following me online that are social media managers. If they're thinking, okay, well, maybe I would like to start in business coaching, what did that look for you, and what sort of steps should they take if they do want to get started, and how could they potentially like get it to that 6-figure point?
Yeah. Oh, good question. So I think first steps, make the decision that it's happening. Always make the decision that it is done. It is happening. You're going all in. Always. That's the first thing on any goal that you ever set. But I think for me, what really helped was finding an area that I could really hone in on. So rather than saying like, I'm a business coach, I'll help you grow your business, which I mean is way too blasé anyway. No one's going to work with you. But like, you've got to have something that you can really focus in on. So if it is that, let's say you are a social media manager and you want to coach people on social media rather than, you know, actually doing the management for them. So you want to teach them how to do it themselves and how to utilize it and all of that stuff. Then I would really hone in on that. Or if you're a photographer and you really want to help photographers to create their own full-time business, you can really hone in on that. Yeah. So you don't have to pigeonhole yourself to the point where it's like, I'm going to help a photographer to go full-time in business and have a 5K month and grow a list and do all these things. Like, you don't have to make it super duper niche, but I think if you can find just one thing that you're like, I did that and I nailed it, I'm going to teach people that, then that's really good. So that, for me, that was going full-time really quick. I thought, yep, I've nailed that. I've done it. I've mastered it. Now I can teach it. You know, like they say, you've only got to be a couple of steps ahead in order to teach someone something and for them to really benefit from that. So don't think that you need to be like amazing at everything in business to become a business coach. I think as long as you have that like one area nailed and then you focus in on that, you will naturally grow and get better at being a coach as you coach. Like, that's the only way that you get better at being a coach, is by actually coaching. So my coaching now looks so different to back then, which is amazing, but start where you are with what you've got. So I think that's kind of the beginning stages. In terms of like the logistics of obviously setting up packages, like think about your ideal client. What do they need? When you think about that one area. So for me, you know, when I thought about when someone's going from side hustling to wanting to do this thing full time in business, what are those steps? So I thought about like, how long is that going to take them? What kind of support do they need? All of that type of stuff. Obviously choose a price. And then I just put it out there. And I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm offering it. Who wants it? And, you know, doing all of those steps. But I think it really started with the decision and then choosing that one area. In terms of growing it to 6 figures, again, make that decision that you're just going to do it, even if you don't know how. But also you do want to be smart in thinking like, you know, you don't just want to have one offer, because trying to scale one offer to 6 figures, it can be done, obviously, but especially if you're just transitioning into coaching. You know, during that year when I made the 6 figures, I had a membership, which I eventually closed, but like I had a membership, I had one-on-one coaching for 3 months, then I changed it to a 6-month. Then I had group programs, I had digital products. So I really just played, and I always play in my business. I'm like, let's make it fun and exciting and just try new things. So I made sure that I had different products and different services that I could offer to get me to the 6 figures, rather than just relying on one source of income. Because if that one source of income fell out of alignment with me and I was like, shit, this doesn't feel good anymore, I need to change this, then I'd be like, you know, up shit creek with that paddle, as we say here in Australia. So for me, it was like deciding that it's going to happen and then saying like, okay, for this to happen, what actually has to happen? And then kind of reverse engineering it from there. But I didn't attach to it. I didn't fuss over it. I see so many people doing that. Like, you know, it's got to happen. If it doesn't happen, like, I'll be so annoyed. It means that I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Like, you've got to set the goal and say, whatever happens. I'm not going to fuss over it. I'm not going to obsess over it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show up, do the work, and it'll happen.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's something sort of that has been a little bit consistent with you, is sort of making the decision or deciding on the goal first and then reverse engineering how you're going to get there. And I think that's very important, because a lot of people sort of will be hesitant to set goals or sort of set a fluffy goal. Oh yeah, I want to hit $1 million this year, but then like don't look at how they want to do that or how they're actually going to achieve it. They just say, oh yeah, I'll hit 1 million, and then like only have one offer or only do whatever it is, however they do it. But actually I love sort of reverse engineering and really creating a plan as to how you can get there, because that's so important. If you don't have a plan with something, I feel like you're not really going to achieve it.
Absolutely. And it's like, I always say, it's like when you get in your car and you type in Google Maps where you want to go, it's like, if you aren't certain in where you want to go, like I definitely want to go to the Westfield Shopping Plaza in Geelong. Like if I don't type that into my GPS, like Google Maps can't tell me where to go. Like they can't say like turn left here and go right there and do a U-turn. You went the wrong way. Like you have to know exactly where you want to go. You have to have the certainty. Otherwise I would be like driving all over the countryside, not knowing where I am, being like, wow, why can't I get there? Because I don't have the goal. Like you've got to have the certainty in the goal, and then reverse engineer it and be like, cool, I need to go here, then I need to go there, and it's happening. So think of it like a GPS.
Exactly. And with a GPS, they have like, you put the destination in, but you can choose different routes to get there.
Yes.
Like, and that's exactly the same as it is with a goal. You set the goal. There might be different ways that you can achieve the goal, and it might change along the way. You might start going one direction and then actually decide, oh no, I want to pivot and I'll hit it this other way. But the point is that you're still going to get to the goal. You're still going to reach the destination. So yeah, I love that. Elley, this has been such a great podcast. I feel like we could just be best friends and talk all day.
I know. I feel that.
If people want to learn more about your business coaching, if they potentially want to get some advice from you or look into how they can get you as their coach, where can they find you online and what are you offering right now?
Yes. Ooh, love that. So I am always on Instagram. You can find me at Elley Mae. I'm literally on Instagram stories every day, and you will always know what I'm doing there. But right now I actually have a brand new mastermind open called the Flow Mastermind. It's an intimate 4-month mastermind for the rest of 2020. I'm super excited about it. And it's all about creating more fun and more freedom and just more flow in business. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, Instagram is where I am at always.
Nice. When is your business mastermind kicking off?
It starts middle of September. So if you're listening to this before then, jump in. Let me know if you have any questions. But yeah, starts middle of September.
Nice. All right. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. Until the next time, I'll see you later. Bye.